What's good, guys? It's TSG. In today's video, we have a nominee for the Ethlizards Council. And today with us, we have Yakkiba. What's going on, my man?
Hey man, thank you for the invite, for doing this. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm really excited, man. Like I told you before we hit the record button, you're the first person for this Ethlizards Council interviews that I'm doing. So I'm really, really excited to hear your thoughts and perspectives on the questions that were prepared.
Awesome.
Let's
Let's
not,
do it.
yeah, let's not waste any time. Let's jump straight into it, yeah? So as you know, in the presentation that the Ethlizards gave to us when they were transitioning into a GameFi investment DAO, they came up with a proposed council structure, and that includes a VC, a GameFi founder, a DeFi founder, and two whales. What role do you think that you're going to be filling in that structure?
Yeah. All right. So first of all, I'm not a whale. It would be nice to be a whale, but I'm just a little tiny fish. I actually have touch points with VC, GameFi, and DeFi. I'll clarify that you probably saw in my introduction. I work with a VC right now to actually write white papers for launching projects. See, I think there's one that already drops. I could share that with you later, so you can review that white paper and the quality of it. I do see how they work together. I'm in a lot of these internal chats. I see how they, look at projects that are coming in and the things are being discussed. On the VC part, I'm also part of two private investor groups. Like these private VCs that you have, they gather the group into one person who can actually get all the safts and then distributes it to the group. I'm part of two of them, very active in terms of discussing, reviewing projects. So I know what to look at from an investor's point of view. In my daily career, I'm also a financial. So that means that when you're looking forward to the possible return on interest that you might get, that is basically my bread and butter.
Yeah.
Then from a GameFi prospect, I literally rolled into crypto through GameFi. Last year, I saw this project launching, and I was like, "Oh man, this is the shit! I should probably, have a look at this." And immediately rolled in, won a contest, got part of the team to, and got a really good close-up look and how a good GameFi project is built. Started together with a buddy of mine to prepare and create my own project. I've been very busy, so we're a little bit on a pause. Also, the market is not great, so that's a little bit on a pause. And obviously, I mean, Polemus, all we do, all that we look at is GameFi, and then for DeFi, I've been head of business development for a DeFi platform in DEX, Polygon. It got hit hard, like really hard by the crash of Terra. So I might need to move on there. But I've already been approached by another project to fulfill the role of CMO, which is also a DeFi project. And yeah, I get a very close-up view on how teams work in crypto space. What are the important things you look at? How do you speak to other teams? How do you see if a team actually is able to deliver on what they're promising, either in a white paper or just by communicating on Twitter? Really, it's like it's literally the little things. It sounds very cheesy and corny, but it's literally the little things that determine if a team actually is going to deliver or not, or it's just going to be one of those crappy ones that just fizzle out after a large hype.
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, I just want to ask you. This has been requested by a few community members in the Ethlizards community. It's a question that I didn't actually prepare, but it's just a small thing that I want to add on, because it seems like with all of these things, with all this experience and all like the stuff that you have on your plate already, you are pretty busy. And the question that a lot of the community is asking is, if you did get elected, how much time would you be able to commit to being a council member with everything on your plate already?
Yeah, I think that's a very fair question. I think this is also something that has been discussed, in the Illuvium Discord several times. How many time should a council member spend on the community? Look, it's all about prioritizing, right? If you run for council member, you get elected. You really cannot say like, hey guys, sorry, I'm not going to make it this week. I'm busy. That is time that you schedule in.
Yeah.
And in my agenda, I actually have several hours a day scheduled for reading white papers, for going through projects, for catching up on Discords,
Yeah.
which we were talking about earlier, catching up on Telegram, Twitter, and chats. And obviously, in the end, I treat it like work.
Yeah.
It's something that you've committed to. You need to show up. Sometimes it might require some flexibility from myself, but to be really honest, I've occasionally been taking calls at midnight just to make
Yeah.
sure that I could deliver on my promises, and that's the same way that I feel any council member should treat their position on the council.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very solid answer. All right, let's move on to the next question, man. And that is, again, I'm going to kind of lean on the fact that you've got all of this experience in GameFi, DeFi. If you were elected on the council and you were voted in to make those decisions on what to invest in at that seed level, what would be the things that you'd look for in a project to want to invest in that project?
I think first of all, it's feasibility. What we've seen last year is that there have been a lot of projects that launched a token and made all these wild promises. But if you looked at the team, it was a very tiny team that did not have the knowledge or the skills to do it, which means there's going to be an insane amount of cash outflow because they either need to hire these third party or they need to start hiring the right people.
Yep.
Now, if a team starts with already a specific set of skills within the team, that means that they can do a lot of stuff in-house. I think that is one of the most important things, because having that knowledge in-house also means that you are able to review the right people and the work that's being done. The second part is, how did they space out their roadmap and their white paper? First of all, do they align? But second of all, if you say I'm going to launch a AAA game and you see in the roadmap that the beta is going to be there 3 weeks or 3 months after token release, are you already busy? Can we see something? Like, is this really happening? Or are you realistic and do you understand, like, hey man, it's AAA. We do have fun stuff to do for you in the meantime, but realistically, the actual beta is not going to be released after, so much time.
Yep.
And again, Illuvium is a very good example for this, but I'm also looking at some of the larger projects out there, like for instance a network that said like, hey, we have these amazing NFTs. Till this day, I have not seen anything yet. So that is something that's very important to look at as well. And the last thing is, how are their tokenomics built? Yeah. Like the VCs that they onboarded, the seed investors, but also the team, or maybe even especially the team, have they locked away their tokens on a rigorous schedule in a way that they have to be committed to this project for the long term to be able to, actually get a gain from it?
Yeah.
Because a VC it's very clearly, and I don't have to, be coy about it. It's all about making money.
Yeah.
So if they look at a project, they dump money in it, and it's going to be vested for like 3 years, 4 years, they probably realized already, okay, within 4 years, I'm actually going to make good money on this, so it's fine for me to hang around. Mm-hmm. But you also need to see like which VCs are there. Some of them are less helpful, so to speak. They don't really support. They have too much money. They need that tax deduction. They just eat the money and they're gone. So yeah, a good investigation on who is backing them with how much money and for how long is definitely, also one of the top priority things that I would be looking at.
Yep, right. That's completely fair. All right, these next two questions, man, I'm actually really excited to ask all of the nominees and see where they stand on this topic. If we ever get to a point where the amount of ETH in the vault is limited, and we don't have too much to play with, how would you go about deploying that capital? Would you look at and try and find multiple opportunities to put in smaller amounts? Would you try and find one that you're super convicted in? How would you deploy that capital, and what's your reason for that?
Oh, important to me so there are several scenarios here, right? The first is why do we have a limited amount of ETH? Now it could be because we're just starting, so we just don't have that much to invest. Could also be that we already made several investments.
Yeah.
I don't necessarily believe you need to feel the pressure to actually invest. And this is a difficult one, because if you don't invest, you don't get more money. If you spend the ETH, you actually might lose money. So it's a little bit of a rope that you're walking on here. If we have a limited amount of ETH in the vault, I would become even more critical of what to invest in.
Yeah.
You can only spend $1 once. You can only spend 1 ETH once. It has to be an absolute bomb ass project if we decide to invest. I would also see if, let's say, this is later down the line and we have some investments going. Are there some projects that we feel like it's time to, to take some of that yield to create more liquidity for ourselves to be able to invest? And this comes from, and I shared that a little bit as well in my presentation about myself. The way that I invest is, and I do it with NFTs, but I do it with everything. I invest. Once it comes in, I look at the chart, I check where it's going, and I take out at least initial.
Yep.
If it's initial plus gain, perfect. Because now I can double invest in something else. The rest, it can stay there and we can see what's happening, but always make sure you get at least initial.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the way to go for ourselves as well. I think it's also good to be very upfront about projects that we're investing in. Like, hey, we do have, an amount of people that are relying on us to create a yield. The last thing we want to do is lose their money. So we have to get at least initial.
Yeah. All right.
Then if we're looking at a limited amount of ETH, we could potentially see if we want to do another race.
Yeah.
I'm not a huge fan of that, because there's a lot of examples of projects that were like, oh, we don't have enough money. You know what? Let's just create another collection, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Now that might be a very valid way to go. I'm not judging anything. I don't say that we should never do that. But it is looked at a certain way, and I think we need to be very careful in how we approach that.
Yep. Yeah. All right. And so the second part of that question is actually the opposite. Is what if we ever come to a point where we have too much ETH, like we have too much capital, and there's not enough seed investments, not enough good seed investments for us to deploy the capital in? What would you like to see us do with that leftover ETH? Would you like to just keep it as it is? Do you have any other ideas on what we could do with that ETH to maximize or optimize the use of that ETH?
Two things, but the first thing in my mind that I had in my mind is, I think, the most important one. As a community, it's not my money. Let the Lizzies determine if they would like to have a payout of part of that fund. After all, it is all our money. And the second thing is, do we have very well experienced traders in the community who would be able to maximize the stuff that we have? But that would always have to be after the community decides on what are we going to do with it. And honestly, if there's nothing to invest in, hey, that happens. You don't take every trade, you don't invest in every NFT project, but that just means that we have a nice opportunity to provide, to distribute the rewards that we've been making.
Yeah. I mean, that's completely fair. Is there anything else you wanted to add about the limited ETH or the excess of ETH? Otherwise, we can move on to the next question.
No, we can move on to the next question. I think obviously it's always up to the community what we do.
Yeah.
Luckily, there's a lot of very committed people in our community that are also very knowledgeable, which is very nice. It's almost easy to run for council in this community, because there's so much brain behind it that all you have to do is like determine who knows what they're talking about.
Yeah.
But no, I don't have anything else to add specifically here.
Yeah. No, that's actually something that I've noticed even in Illuvium and the Lizards. It's like we are surrounded by a bunch of very, very intelligent people, so it is easy to
Absolutely
get that information. All All right, so moving on to the next question, man, and this is one that actually all of these questions I'm very interested in. What is your opinion on the team's decision to have council members remain undoxxed if that is what they wish? Do you stand on the fact that if you are a council member for a VC fund like this, a GameFi VC fund, that you should be doxxed, or do you think remaining undoxxed is a fair thing to allow council members to do?
I think the team should always know who they're dealing with. So for the team itself, they should not remain undoxxed ever. As for the community, I mean, in the DeFi projects that I'm working on, the team is not doxxed.
Yep.
You know, and their reasoning behind it, I actually like it very much. They say if you are focused on who is behind a project instead of what is the project doing, it can actually, distract people from what is being put out.
Yep.
And distract them from what is actually happening.
Yeah.
Which should know who their works. One. Second part is there's a lot of people working in crypto who, due to maybe their personal life or past experiences, or maybe even their current professional life, would not feel comfortable being doxxed right now because crypto is still a little bit of in between. We would miss out on their experience and their knowledge if we would say, no, you have to be doxxed.
Yeah.
And I don't think we want that. I think we want everybody who we can get who really knows what they're doing on board. And if that means that, at least for now, they would have to be undoxxed if they want to, that's perfectly fine with me.
Yep. All right. Now that's again a completely fair thought process behind that. All right. The last two questions, man. They're a bit more light and fun questions, just to kind of just end off on a light note. The first of the two questions is, how many lizards do you actually have? Because obviously the community would like to see people with skin in the game being on the council. So it's just a thing that they wanna ask and find out. So how many lizards do you actually hold?
I currently hold one lizard. His name is Billy.
Jesus. All right.
He is also. I have one lizard right now.
Yeah.
And the reason that I have one is like I said before, I was too stupid to mint them when it was the OG one.
Yep,
so I don't have one of those OG lizards.
Yeah.
Which makes me really sad, but it is what it is.
You mean the Genesis lizards?
Then I got to mint.
You mean the Genesis lizards or just the actual 5050 lizards?
No, actually the first one that were minted for free that we added eventually to the group.
Yep. Yeah, crazy.
And yeah, I mean they were beauty and they were just for fun. Like I told you before, I was catching up on Discords and I was just too late to make it.
Yeah.
I bought 3 when they went into sale. I won a whitelist, was very happy with it, and I sold 2 because that is the rule that I live by. I really believe when you're trading, investing, you always have to follow your rules. But I was kind of sad later on because I was like, I kind of want more Lizzie's. And that ties into my favorite Ethlizard trade. I think the eyes on the Lizzie's are fucking amazing.
Yep. Any specific eyes? Like is it the stoner eyes? Is it the I don't know, the shuriken eyes?
Yeah,
I don't know
the
what
one with
called.
the googly eye, and so that would be perfect to have one.
All right.
I think done. Yeah.
Googly eyes. All right. Awesome, man.
Yeah, it's those are amazing.
Yeah. All right. No, awesome. Yeah. Thank you so much, man, for answering all the questions. I think you did a great job. Before I let you go, though, is there? I'll add your. What's the best way for people to reach you? Is it on Discord? Is it on Twitter? What's the best way for people to get in touch?
I ignore everything on Twitter because there's a lot of crap. So just reach out to me in Discord. Either ping me. I think my DMs are open for the Ethlizard Discord. If not, I'll open them up. Just reach out to me. I'm always behind my computer. I do eventually catch up with everything.
Yep.
Though I do look in the Ethlizard Discord a lot more often than I do in others, so I will always be able to catch up. And if you have a really burning question, you don't see me responding immediately, just hit me up in Polemus.
Yep.
You can reach out there as well.
Yep.
You know, shameless plug for Polemus.
Yeah, I was gonna actually say before I let you
But
go,
just
man. What else?
just reach out to me.
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
here.
say before I let you go, all the plugs that you want. Like what else? Is there anything else you want to leave us with? Any plugs? Anything you want to say before we let you go?
In projects that I'm looking at right now is definitely Ethlizards and Polemus. There are a few others that I'm tracking, but unless I'm 100% confident that's going to kick off, it's going to be awesome. I won't share them because I don't want anyone to yeet into something and then later on it not pay off. I think there has been too many sad stories, especially with Terra crashing and the market being the way it is. So yeah, everybody just be careful out there. Don't click on links you don't trust. Even if it takes some extra time, just be extra careful. Take the extra measures. It's the most important thing you'll do in this space.
Yeah. All right. Again, man, honestly, thank you so much for coming on. For everyone that is watching, I'm actually really excited. I think I've got quite a few of these coming up. Again, get informed with the Ethlizards. I think they're fairly close and related to Illuvium, so it's a cool place to be. But yeah, if you like this type of content, like, subscribe, hit the notification button, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.